Although osteocytes are the main bone cell that we find in both compact and spongy bone, there are other bone cells that are specialized and found only in bone tissue. So just to get it out of the way, osteocytes have a star-like shape to them, and this over here is an osteocyte. They're trapped between the concentric lamella, and their purpose is to maintain the matrix of the calcium salts and the collagen-rich osteoid. Found between the spongy bone and the marrow of the medullary cavity, or found on the endosteum, are osteogenic cells. They're basically stem cells. And they're capable of giving rise to the other types of bone cells. Well, two of the types of bone cells. These bone cells, osteogenic cells, they are quite active when you are young, and they continue to be active into your adult life. However, much like many stem cells, they start to slow down in their ability to create new bone cells as you enter older ages. Whereas the osteogenic cells are in the endosteum, kind of like right there, right? Because the endosteum lines the marrow cavity. Osteoblasts are responsible for secreting the osteoid or collagen-containing protein fibers of the matrix that will later be calcified in ossification. So in a fetus, osteoblasts are way more numerous than any of the other types of cells. Osteoblasts, they're secreting the matrix against the superficial face of the bone. And as they do so, they push themselves outward, increasing the bone's diameter. This is called appositional growth, which is growth that occurs along the outer edge. And we can use the word appositional growth to refer to bone, cartilage, or any other type of organ. Sometimes an osteoblast will be outpaced in its matrix production by the other cells around it. And in this case, the underperforming osteoblast becomes trapped between concentric lamella of the matrix. Because of its new location, trapped in a lacuna, the osteoblast transforms into an osteocyte, and instead of secreting the matrix, it starts to maintain the matrix. Scattered among the osteogenic cells at the borderline between the spongy bone and the marrow cavity are cells called osteoclasts. These are part of the endosteum that lines that marrow cavity of bone. And as you can see here, osteoclasts, they do not arise from the osteogenic stem cells. In fact, they arise from a myeloid stem cell, which, as you can see, is the precursor for erythrocytes, a certain type of white blood cell called a neutrophil, and cells that fragment to give rise to platelets, which is something called a megakaryocyte. So an osteoclast has a very different lineage than the other bone cells. And I think that osteoclasts, they kind of look like the ghosts in Pac-Man. These cells, they do something called osteolysis, which is a word that means bone breaking down. Right? Lysis is a word, or a suffix that means to split. Contained within osteoclasts are lysosomes or vesicles. And these vesicles or lysosomes contain enzymes that are capable of breaking down spongy and compact bone.